If you're an international student trying to get your first job in Australia, then this video is for you. So the dilemma is very clear. You're trying to get experience to get a job, but you also need a job to get experience. Now, if you're an international student, you might be aware of the restriction, which is 40 hours per fortnight, which is 20 hours weekly as a limitation when you're studying full-time. As of the time of recording this video, in July 2022, that restriction is no longer required, meaning as an international student, you can work more than that. Keep in mind that this is not legal advice and that will go back at some stage. So as a student, you have to know your rights in not exceeding the visa limit of 20 hours per week. Now let's talk about how you're going to get that first job. Now, given that you're still studying or you finished your studies and you want to get a professional job, then I've made a completely different video from this one, which you can find it here. It takes you step by step about how to find a professional job. What I'll be showing you today is how can you get your first job in Australia, whether it's hospitality, retail, delivery, and so on, and how that's different from your home country. Now, there are so many jobs in Australia that you can get without qualification, meaning you don't need experience to get them. You can just be in Australia and apply for them directly without a lot of experience. These jobs include waiter, kitchen hand, barista, bartender, security, cleaning, delivery, office admin. All of these jobs and a lot more don't require formal qualification. You can get them without having to study. Now, mind you, in some cases for retail and hospitality, you might get some certificates. For example, responsible service of alcohol, which what we call RSA, that's a requirement in bars and most restaurants. So that would help you if you're trying to get a bartender job. Another course that might be helpful for you is getting a barista certificate or a coffee making course. These courses are widely available here in Australia, and you can take it as a half a day or a day course. That makes you a lot more employable if you're trying to work in a cafe and make coffees. Now, here are the 3 steps you need to get your first job in Australia in retail hospitality. Step number 1, get a good resume. Now, what does a good resume look like? We've covered it in detail in a lot of videos, but I'll give you a summary. A good resume, especially if you're applying for retail and hospitality jobs, will be a 1-page. You don't need longer than that. You're trying to include your customer service skills, your volunteering skills, and any skills you have from your home country. You don't have to have a lot of local experience or any experience to have a 1-page resume. Try to keep it really short and brief. 3 sections for this type of resume: education, work history, and of course your details on top. If it's a professional resume, you might add a summary at the beginning, but for these type of jobs, all you need is that and your availability. A lot of hospitality and retail jobs will ask you for availability. What days are you available? So make sure you have that included on your resume. What you don't want to include in that resume, which is a 1-page, do not include a photo, do not include your full street address, do not include any personal information about your marital status, family, religion, date of birth, none of that. You really want to make that resume relevant to the job you're applying for. The second step in getting the first job in Australia in hospitality and retail is, of course, applying for jobs online. Now, there's a lot of websites. I'm aware of Facebook groups, Gumtree, Indeed, Jora, all of these websites that can really help you get that first job. But what I would advise you is stick to seek.com.au. That's one website that has the most jobs in Australia and that can really get you a job with clear requirements that makes it a lot easier for you to apply directly to your resume. Besides seek.com.au, you can go to the websites directly. So, for example, you can go to Woolworths, you can go to Coles, you can go to Aldi, you can go to grocery stores, Kmart, Target. All of these big companies and grocery stores have websites that you can apply for those jobs directly on their website. The third and last step into getting that first job is applying in person. So think about it this way. If you're a cafe owner or you're a restaurant owner or you're someone who manages a bar, would you rather go through hundreds of applications online or someone walking in, being presentable, applying for the job directly? You have a clear advantage of applying in person and asking for the manager. So when you apply in person, literally go in, ask the cashier or whoever is in charge, is the manager here today? Just ask for the manager. If they're not there, you can always come back and ask for the manager, because the manager is a decision maker and you really want to leave that good impression and shake their hand and present yourself in person. Now, of course, the key thing here is to dress well, make sure that you're not coming in a rush time when they're serving customers, make sure that you're patient if they're asking for a manager, but most importantly, be prepared for a trial. Especially in a lot of cafes, they would ask you to make a coffee or serve a customer or come back for a small shift for a trial. So make sure that you're comfortable with the surroundings when you enter a cafe or restaurant, that you want to work there. In my case, during my university, I got all of my jobs this way. I literally would go to the restaurant, ask for the manager, present myself with a resume, do a short interview, and then get the job. Another way you can do this is combine online with in-person. I went to Coles, for example, the grocery shop, and I asked them, are you looking for people? Are you hiring? and they said everything's managed online. So what I did is I applied online, then came back to the store with my resume, and I said, is the store manager here? And when I spoke to the store manager, I said, look, I applied online, I would like to present myself in person. That leaves a personal impression, and I was in a much better position than other candidates who applied online and didn't follow up in person, and I ended up getting the job. So that's a strategy you can implement. So to summarize the 3 steps to get your first job in Australia: print a resume, start applying online on seek.com.au and their own websites, then go in person, ask for the manager in restaurants, cafes, and grocery stores. Before I conclude this, of course, a lot of these jobs don't require all of that. For example, the case of Uber delivery, Amazon Flex, or a lot of warehouse jobs and factory don't require you to have your resume. So that's something to look into as a second option for you. Hope you found value today. Thanks for watching this far. I'll see you in the next one.